Have you ever seen those companies that have explosive growth and you want a manual? Like, just tell me how you did it. That's basically what this podcast episode is. I talked today to Saenz. She is the CEO and founder of Saenz Global, a company that started out as a virtual assistant company, but then niched down to work specifically with roofers. So maybe not the traditional flashy online business, but man, are we talking profitable? Are we talking scaling? She went from starting her business to over $600,000 in revenue in less than 2 years. I mean, girl is absolutely killing it. And she reveals all in this episode. We are talking tactics, we're talking marketing, team building, elevating yourself to CEO, niching down, and more. I know you're going to love it. So let's jump right in. Taise,
Hi.
thank you so much. Hey, thanks for coming on the show today. I am so pumped to be chatting with
I'm so
you.
excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me, Abby.
Of course. I cannot wait to dive into your story. For everybody listening, Thais and I have known each other for so many years and went to school together and now both run crazy businesses. And I think every day we wake up and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that we're here. And so it's a really fun thing to connect on. Thais, you run a multi six figure agency now, but you started your journey as a virtual assistant. So I would love to just start at the very beginning, kind of what got you into this whole world? What got you interested in starting a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always kind of had that entrepreneur heart. I was always like little. My mom always says I was like trying to sell candy. Like I was always trying to find some way to make some money. And I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I never knew how to do it. Right. So I was in my corporate career. Like I've always had, was climbing the corporate ladder, but there was like this thing inside of me that I still felt caged in working for corporate America. And though it didn't really make any sense, right? It's like super comfortable. Like you have all the things, all the benefits. But something inside of me, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I would always look up things how to be an entrepreneur, but literally everything out there was just so much information and it's so confusing sometimes and so conflicting. And I was like, there's no way, I don't know how to do this. And then I then realized like there was the savvy, the virtual savvy. My sister-in-law, Christy De Silva, who now owns a company called De Silva Life, which is really successful. She started the virtual savvy program and literally started like building a business. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this program gives you all of the tools to build it. And so my husband's like, why don't you just give it a try? And so I did. And it was the best thing I ever did. It was the best investment I ever made because that like insecurity of not like, I want to start a business. I just don't know how to, that all the tools were right there. And it was like incredible. And that's how I started my business with everything, all the tools right in front of me. And then I just put my hard work in and built it. So it was awesome.
That's awesome. So thanks for the little savvy system plug,
Oh,
by
of
the way.
course. No problem.
But I think that's really cool. So when you first started out, because you were coming from corporate world, tell me a little bit about kind of the services that you offered and what your business looked like in those early stages.
Yeah. So early stages, I always knew like the greats, right? I would always hear like the Googles, the Facebooks. Like I always knew from the bottom to have a good business, you need to have great people. And I know one thing about me is that I'm horrible at actually doing like the admin. I'm more of a sales. That's what I've always done. My roles have always been marketing, sales, but the admin side is where I'm horrible at. So when I first started my business, I was like, anyone that is alive and breathing and has a business, I can do anything that you want. So I literally would go after everyone. I was like, working with a taco company. I was working with a pharmacy. I was working with a window and door installer. I was working with like a pizza, location. I was like, anyone alive and breathing that needs help, I can help you. And that was kind of my motto. I just like went off, after anyone that would give me a chance to help them.
That's so awesome that you right away you're like, well, here's what I'm good at and here's what I'm not good at. And I think that a lot of not just entrepreneurs, but people in general get very stuck on this idea that I just need to be good at everything and we beat ourselves up for the things that we're not good at. Whereas if you do the Thais approach where you look at your weaknesses and you go, oh, well, those are just an opportunity for somebody else's strength. And then you plug people into those weaknesses like, wow. I mean, do you think that that's one of the reasons that you've had such accelerated growth? Because we're looking and you have this massive company, but you started
Oh,
not that long
yeah.
ago, right? I mean, we're talking a few years
Right. We're
in.
about a year and 10 months now. So yeah, we're pretty fresh. Yeah. So pretty much I knew that if I wanted to keep growing a business, that I would have to remove myself from allowing myself to become paralyzed. So when I don't like doing a task, I become paralyzed. I procrastinate it, I put it in the back burner and it never gets done. And so I knew that if I allowed myself to be paralyzed, nothing would happen. So that meant immediately, like right away, kind of from the kickstart, I knew I had to bring in a team member to help. So the one was, I thought I was going to love social media management. I was like, oh, I'm going to love this because I love running my own, like my own Instagram. I love it. And then when I did it for, the tacos, I was like, wow, I absolutely dislike this very, very much. And I was like, I don't want to do this at all, but I know someone that might want to do it. And so I was like, hey, you want to do it? And they're like, she's like, yeah, I'll do it. And I'm like, perfect, go ahead. And just kind of outsourced it to my first team member. So she went, got that job done. And obviously the client would pay, they would pay her. And then I would get some of the profit as well and not have to do a task that I absolutely disliked. So that was kind of off the kicker, like exactly how I built the business. Like if I have to do something I don't like, I am going to not do it and then we're not going to grow. So I've really, really focused on building a business I absolutely love. So I only allow myself to do the things I absolutely love to do, which most of it is I love people and I love, going after new relationships and PR. So that's what I focus on.
Yeah, I even noticed on your website, you're like, it says CEO and also director of sales. You're like, I'm still holding on to that for now because it's what you love,
Yes, I
right?
love it. I love it very much.
So, what would you say was the most difficult part in that beginning season? Maybe if somebody is listening and they're, in more of the startup phase and looking for some, oh, good, I'm feeling that too. what was the most difficult part of just kind of that beginning launching season of your business?
So the most difficult part is I felt for me, it was all mental. So the confidence, the battling the inner doubts, the constantly like, is really someone going to pay this for this? Like someone going to really pay to have me help them? Like it was the constant fear of like rejection. And it's funny because I'm used to sales and you get tons of rejections, but it was a totally different aspect when you're building a business. And, the fear of like sharing with other people. I remember I was so afraid to post on Facebook that I had a company because I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if I don't do a good job? What are people going to think? What if like my coworkers see it? Like all of these things that just become like a brick wall, and you have to just like little by little knock it down and face the fear. So constantly, you just have to do a lot of self-talking. So do things scared was pretty much my motto because I would absolutely not have this business if I just stuck in my head like, wait, this is like, what if it doesn't work out? Am I going to, am I really leaving this like corporate comfortable job to go after my own company? Like, this sounds all insane. You just having to have some risk and take that risk. So in the beginning, that's really a lot of the battle. It was a lot of mind battle for sure.
Yep. Oh my gosh, I totally feel you. That's Ruth Soukup's her whole little tagline is "Do it scared," and I resonate with that so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not been any like huge leaps in business. Like the things that have been the game changers, I'm pretty sure have all been tied back to a "Do it scared" moment, like hands down.
Yeah.
And you can talk about this a little bit too, because your journey
Hmm.
started out as kind of the general VA, like, hey, you're living, you're breathing. Awesome. Let's chat. I can work with you. But then
Hmm.
you kind of niche down. You decided, hey, I'm going to work specifically with one niche in particular. So tell us about that journey. What did you niche down to? What did that process look like? Talk to us about the process of niching, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was another huge kind of growth lever moment for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So they, how they're always like niche down. It's important. Like literally, it has been the best thing that ever happened to our company is choosing to niche down. Because before I felt like I was more like a Walmart and a Target. I was for everyone. Like if you're alive, I can accommodate you, do it. But then I realized that behind the scenes, that wasn't the best for our company, right? Because it wasn't the most profitable either for us. And how did I get to roofing? So that is what we now specialize in. We love working with roofers nationwide, and we love working with leading roofers is our thing. So my background is actually in construction. So I used to work with a stainless steel manufacturer. I was the sales representative for all of Latin America and also the US for Florida. And so I'm very familiar with this very male dominated industry. So very, being a woman that is dealing with construction and like big projects, multi-million dollar projects in like a very, male dominated industry, I was very, very comfortable with that. And also dealing with, like if you deal with that type of industry, they tend to be very short when they're talking. It's like not a lot of, they don't really, it's not a lot of emotion. It's not about any, it's literally like boom, 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 get it done. So I felt very comfortable with that type of industry. And so we actually onboarded a roofer. So we onboarded a roofer and we said, okay, wouldn't it be cool if we learned how to do permitting I was talking with Maria, which is our COO. And we're like, we don't know how to do permitting, but she's like, I know someone that does. Let me go talk to them. And so she found that person that knows how to do permitting. And then we got this roofer and we're like, yeah, we know how to do permitting. We got it. We got this down. But absolutely had never done permitting before. But one thing that we do know is that we're really good learners and that we are high caliber when it comes to, learning something quickly. And so we onboarded these roofers and we fell in love with the industry. We fell in love with like how we can literally because it was kind of almost felt like home, right? Working in the industrial world felt like home for me. So roofing was awesome. Also, roofing is like a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're also very behind in a lot of technology. And so they have a lot of needs. And so, yeah, we absolutely we saw the need and we were like, let's do it. So we love working with roofers and that's what we are experts at. So that's how I niched down and I'm really happy we did. Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. Like it's so great because I think that, if somebody's in that process of thinking about niching down, number one, I think that a lot of times it's like you don't necessarily find your niche, it finds you type of thing. Cause that was very similar to my story is that I was like, I'm just gonna build this blog and build this thing. And then it was just like all of a sudden I had this aha moment when it was literally when people told me, like, hey, we want to learn how to be a virtual assistant from you. I'm like, oh, okay, I can build that business, right? And it was just like you almost stumble upon it sometimes. So I think that there is just this like, stay faithful to the step right in front of you and then look and be open to those opportunities because they will find you. And I love how it pairs so much of not just your background and your experience, but your personality too. And if anybody's wondering, Taise is an Enneagram 8, and I love it because she's like one of the most 8 friends that I know. And she's just so direct, and she's like, yeah, I love when people are short with me, which most people are like, they were so short with me, I don't know if they hate me or not. And you're like, no, this is
So
perfect, get to the point.
I love it. It's funny. Like you got to find what you love, right? So we're always talking about building these businesses that you're actually working with business owners that you like love. And so that's literally what we've niched down to, working with the roofing industry, which we absolutely love the roofing industry. So find what you love and go after it.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Okay, so I know that throughout this journey, one of the things that you've leaned into is your strengths, and you are a natural salesperson. So, talk to me a little bit about sales and marketing, kind of what has been your tactic for sales and marketing when you were first getting started. Has that changed over time as you've scaled?
Yeah, absolutely. So my tactic with sales is always this. I'm by nature, I love sales, right? Because I'm by nature very competitive. But one thing that I love really in sales is a lot of times it's not that I'm there to make a number, right? Like, yes, the numbers are great, but really what I'm there is to build a relationship. And so for me, that's what it's all about. It's about that PR aspect of like, going out there, putting yourself out there, meeting people, connecting with them, but also not doing it with like, oh, good, I'm going to sell them on something, but literally genuinely loving people is like what I love. I love seeing people. I generally love people. And so in sales, that's one of the big things for me. It's about helping people with their pain points, right? So when we're working with roofer, maybe they're interested in working with us, that's straight off the bat, like what we talk about. Hey, let's see if we would be even able to help you. Because really selling, it's not the goal really. It's building a long-term relationship with another business partner. And so for us, that's kind of what we look at it. We want to make sure we're helping. The way that we're doing that is by helping alleviate a pain point. And in that case, it's administration. And so for us, it's not so much about, oh, I got another sale there. For us, it's like, hey, let's see if this would be a good long relationship. And if not, then let's definitely not move forward. We don't want to waste each other's time. And so it's been really profitable to do that because we have really long-term clients with us that have been with us for over a year plus and want to continue working with us. So the strategy that we use, even when it comes to social media, is all about really engaging with people. So it's not a lot of times just like content. No, it's actually like engaging content where we want the roofers that are watching our videos or watching, they know that every day they can go to our platform and they're going to see something. And that's not going to be me advertising, oh, the next sale or we don't advertise at all sales or anything. But what we do talk about is how, hey, like let them know a little bit more about who we are and make funny videos about things that they deal with, and really just make it about them. And that's been our approach. It's people don't really care about us. They care about themselves. And that's the reality of just like any business and people. And so if you're really able to market for your ideal client, about them, how you can help their pain points and how you can, partner together. That's been a huge, huge thing for us as a business. So I hope
Oh
I
my
answered
gosh.
your question there.
Yes, and it's so I love it because I feel like that message transcends any level that you're at. Like it's at like relationships and solving pain points. And so if you're brand new, relationships, solve pain points. If you are, a 6 or 7 figure, multi 7, 8 figure company, hey, relationships and solve pain points. I feel like it is the like most evergreen marketing strategy that there is. And that could look a lot of different ways, right? Like for you guys, I know you've really dove into TikTok, which is so fun. Like I love watching your company's videos, but it's like you guys tried a couple of different things and you found TikTok is where apparently your industry was hanging out, and you don't have to have like a massive following to make a massive impact. Because tell me a little bit about TikTok and how that's going for you. You guys are getting leads pretty consistently there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started our TikTok video. We had like 92 followers, and then we're like, okay, I think the roofers are here. So then we tested it out and made consistent videos for about a week, and then literally we grew to like 100, like 150 followers or something. And it's only been about 6 weeks or 7 weeks now, and we're at 570 followers, which that doesn't sound like a lot because you're like, whoa. But if you actually do the research, that's actually a huge growth because this is all organic grown. So if you see all the people that are following us, they're actually roofers and they're not, Sally who makes cupcakes because she's not going to care about anything about roofing, right? So we're really built this like TikTok that is for roofers, and we're getting so many roofers following us. But not only that, we're getting about 10 discovery calls almost like weekly just from our TikTok. And we only have like 570 followers at the moment. So constant discovery calls on that platform. And so yeah, we found where our people hang. And so we're loving it.
Oh my gosh, it's just the power of like speaking to a very specific audience. You literally have 500 people that are like your absolute ideal client. And it's like we don't
Exactly.
need to mess with the rest, right? Like we're not speaking to somebody if you own a salon or if you own a mom and pop, you know, clothing store or whatever. No, like we are speaking to a very specific person with a very specific pain point, and that's why it's having such good results for you. Oh my gosh, I love all of this. So good, so good. So I know that, you've grown this company and you've been able to focus largely on sales, which is your
Mm-hmm.
superpower, which I love that you have freed yourself up to be able to do that. But part of freeing yourself up to be able to do that is obviously bringing on team members. So I know you said in the beginning it was kind of this, let me find people who are good at the things that I'm not good at, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want to be doing, which I think is an amazing strategy. When it comes to scaling your team, what does it look like for you to hire new team members? Like, what are you looking for? What is your process? I mean, for anybody who is maybe bringing in their first team member or, has a few but wants to kind of expand their team even further, what would your tips be for building a team?
Yeah, I want to add like so but we're growing at such a rapid pace that like in the last week we just added 6 new team members. So we're like officially at like 28 team members.
Wow.
So we're like, okay, that was just, we're like so fast. Yeah. So we've actually never recruited for any position in our team. So pretty much how we have designed the company is the culture of the company is so important to me that I kind of go back to all the books that I've read about great business leaders that say running a good business is not micromanaging your team, right? It's allowing people, and for me, it's hiring people that are smarter, more intelligent, more talented, and more equipped than I am. And that literally has been my motto since day one. So even my first hire that I hired, she's way smarter than me, like way better than me, and all things awesome. And so I hired her, and she did a killer job running my social media. So then when I needed to add more people, she's like, "Oh, I know a friend." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, well, let's talk to your friend." And then the friend was like, "Yeah, I'm totally in." And then our COO, Maria McMillan, she was actually in my corporate life, she was my right hand. So during COVID, all things happened. And she was like, I've always want to work with you. So I want to be part of your team too. So, like she became our right hand, my right hand for this company. And she's really good at administration. So it's like a lot about, again, back to the roots. It's about people. It's about building relationships. It's about when you're going out and about on your day and you see someone give excellent service, recruit them. Like take down their name. Like, oh my gosh, like let's say you just went to a bakery and you saw that this person at the bake shop was super kind, was really and had a nice voice or like was really kind. You're like, "Oh, I have a company that needs really good callers. Like this person might be a good fit." And so just like pass your business card out and say, "Hey, if you're interested, I have a company, you would be great there." It's like your whole life is recruiting. You're always looking for great people. And the best way to recruit people is in their day-to-day life. When they are working somewhere or doing something, you can really see what their capacity is. So for us, our team has literally grown very organically, and it's just been everyone just keeps recruiting one another. And obviously, the way that we do it is they go through Maria first. So we actually put the ads out on our general thread on Slack and say, "Hey, team, we're looking for people. This is what we're looking for. We need them to have really good caliber, high skill." And the way we recruit as well, I guess, we tell our team members, anyone that you recommend, make sure that if this business is yours, which it is, we tell our team, this business is yours, it's growing because of you, that you would be really proud to have them on your team. And so that's why we keep getting just this high caliber of individuals because they're so proud of the people they're bringing on. And then also we give them a payout too if they last with us with 3 months. And so far, we've literally had to pay every single person out. So everyone's worked out really great. So yeah, so that's kind of the motto that we follow. But yeah, hire people that are greater and more talented than you. That's my big motto there for our company. And always be on the lookout. You're always recruiting someone. And if you have someone that is near you, that's a friend, you don't have to hire like virtual like assistants, if that makes sense. You want to maybe hire people that are like just stay at home or they are students and they want an extra gig or something like that. And that's some of our team members. They were like full on in school and they're like, "Oh, this company is blowing up. We actually are going to go full on and just want to be part of the startup." It's just been really funny. So yeah, so I hope I'm answering your question well, but I hope that
Yes.
makes sense of what I'm
Oh my gosh,
saying.
so many gems here. So many gems. Because I agree. I think that, good people know good people. So if you can get like your core team of people who are just like, these are not just people who are skilled, but people who are through and through, like believe in the mission of the company, who are a cultural fit, who just are passionate about the things we're passionate about, then
Hmm.
if you can like establish that with your first few people, then it really will trickle. And so many of our employees, same way, are just end up being personal referrals, right? And because great people know great people, it's like they hang out in circles
Exactly.
together for sure. So I love that. And I love that you put such an emphasis on culture because that's one of the things we're personally going through a little coaching program right now, and it's for higher level business. You have to be at a certain revenue point to get there. And what do they start with? Mission, purpose, values, culture. And it's like, oh, like isn't it at some point that it's not about that anymore? And it's like, nope, nope, that's always the thing. Like that is how you build a great company. That has to be the foundation, and it's not something that you ever like graduate from, I don't think. So I love that you already have that. What does it look like to have a great team culture in your company? So how do you like practically infuse a good company culture? It sounds like it's infused into your hiring, but maybe other practical ways that you've infused, like, we have a great team culture. Maybe what is that culture and how have you infused it into the day to day?
Yeah. So our culture, it's all about the team. So literally it's the motto is team, team, team. I always kind of, our whole team is like, we have here in, in the US, some in Argentina and Brazil. And that's my background in Brazilian. And, one of my closest friends in Argentina. That's how we got all these great people. And for us, soccer is a big thing. And I always say soccer teams, the way they win is they train together, they play together, but most of all, they communicate together on the field. And so we need to have each other's back as we're working together. And I always say that the culture that a company has, it all starts from the top and it trickles down to the bottom. So we have to own what we do. And so that even it goes to our management team. And I'm always, when we have our management meetings that we have once a week, it's all about let's start with something great that happened this week. And it's like infusing instead of like this critical, like just like always so easy to like critique and like this is not going well or this is, it's always like let's start with what's going great. Let's talk about all the things that are happening. Let's celebrate the wins. It's like let's celebrate. Yes, let's have the tough talks when we need to have them. But just like a team, we want to win. And so we work, we train, we play together. And most of all, I always say we have each other's backs. So even when no one is around, I'm speaking highly of you. And that is like for every, for management, they know we're like speaking highly of every team member. And they don't need to worry that we're going to talk bad about them behind the back or anything like that. It's like we're talking highly of you. And that is like the culture that we're building where we're accountable to like to ourselves. Like everyone needs to be accountable to themselves. We don't have ask anything, right? And that's kind of the big motto in our company. And you own what you do, and we all are a team, and together is how we win the game. And so that's kind of our motto. And we infuse that with like Slack, using Slack a lot in our platform on our general threads. When someone's new on the team, everyone is hyped, welcoming them. It's almost like we want to throw a party every freaking week, and yet it to be very authentic. And one thing that I do as an owner of the company is I actually do like phone calls directly. Will call team members that, they don't direct to me. And I will literally call them when I hear like, hey, this person just got really positive feedback. I will call them directly. Usually it scares the heck out of them. And it's really funny, Abby. And they're like, oh, hello. And I'm like, hi, I just wanted to personally thank you for being a great team member, and just kind of infusing like that. Yes, we, have order in our company, but together, this is how we all play. And we're one team. We all work together. And so we use a lot of soccer analogy in our company.
So good. Oh my gosh. And like you said, they celebrate together, team unity and the communication, which I think can be difficult for a remote team for sure, but it sounds like through Slack, through just picking up the phone sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you guys have been able to nail that. Oh my gosh, I love it. So let me ask you a few ending questions. I feel like I could talk to you forever because this is such good information. But I feel like you have just so embraced CEO status. I mean, I just have no doubt that we are at the very beginning of, Saenz Global. It is, I think, obviously you have massive vision, but you've really grasped CEO and what it means to be CEO. So I just wanted to ask you that question actually. What does it mean for you to be CEO of your company?
So for me to be CEO is I almost see like you're the biggest servant, right? You are the biggest cheerleader of your team. You are also the gatekeeper, right? So when I'm having a lot of times I'm doing discovery calls and I'm the gatekeeper with like will this company be good for the health of my team? And so it's almost like you're the protector. You are also you're the visionary, and you are the moment, you're bringing in the visions, you're propelling your team forward. You're technically the captain of the boat in a way, but you realize that the boat would not be moving if everyone was not doing their part. So kind of realizing like, yes, I am the CEO, quote unquote, but that really doesn't, it just means I'm the, like what I mentioned, those things, but it doesn't mean much if that makes sense. It's like you're just the captain of the team and you're moving the team forward, but you have to do that because and the way I look at it is like, I embrace it because I believe so much in my team, right? I embrace CEO that I don't do things that I hate. So that's one thing. CEOs, you can't do the stuff that you hate because then you're not going to run a good company and you're not going to run a healthy company. And so for me, being CEO is being a healthy me, being a healthy business owner, being healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, all those things that falls into my team. And so as a CEO, kind of like having a lot of accountability to myself because I am leading this team. And but again, without the team, we wouldn't be moving. So it's kind of this very like appreciative kind of role. Like I'm very like aware that we wouldn't be here if it was not for the team. And I'm very aware that the team is really thankful for the leadership that I, bring to the team because I really believe in them. And so I get to be the gatekeeper and protect our team and get to also, propel us forward. So, and do only the things I love. That's what I love to do.
Oh my goodness. So freaking good. What has been your biggest challenge you faced as you've scaled your company?
So the biggest challenge is when you're growing your company. And for me, I know it sounds a little funny, but like actually paying myself, because at first you're like, no, 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 I gotta like almost you have this martyr mentality. Like, oh, it's a startup. So you have to be this martyr where you're not like, you can't pay yourself. Like, cause that's what you've always heard. Like, you don't pay yourself for 5 years, like you just gotta grind, grind, grind. And it's like almost like, no, that's a very like not building a company you love, right? Because if you're constantly martyring yourself and like killing your, like all this stuff and you're like can't eat, but everyone else can eat, like it doesn't work. Like again, it goes back to being a healthy CEO is like being, able to actually like pay myself. That was actually kind of something I really struggled with. I almost had to deal with that mentality of like, it's okay, Taise, you can actually take some money from the business because you've built it and it's like
Yeah.
you built the business and you can actually pay yourself so that you can take care of your family, and not just like I don't know. It's like you can bless your my husband and my kids. So that's been very interesting. That's been one of the most difficult things for me.
I remember some of those conversations. I'm like, Days, pay yourself some money, girl. Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Last question. What would you say has been the best advice you've been given in your business?
Literally the best advice that I was given is do what you love. I know that sounds crazy to many people, but I'm telling you 100%, you can literally have a business that you absolutely love. And if you can start it off like that, it's much easier than if you're building a business that you're hating and then having to adjust to make it only what you love. So if you can just from the beginning make that your motto, like I'm going to build something I love. Is there going to be moments you're going to do things that you hate? Of course, it's just part of the journey, right? I was pulling all-nighters, Abby, when I first started the company. I had a newborn and a 3-year-old, and I was literally pulling all-nighters because I was trying to get as much work in as possible. So did I hate those moments? 100%. Did I want to quit? 1,000,000%. But really realizing like, okay, I can build this company. It can get to a place where I literally do only what I love. And that's where we're at. So like make that something that's true and through to your business. Do what you love, because if you do what you love, you're going to be much happier. And that's going to, again, fall back onto your team. They're going to have a better leader. They're going to have a happier leader. Happier leaders have happier leaders, right? And then happier leaders have also happier people working with them and for them. So if you can do the things that you love and be a happy leader that genuinely is so in love with what you're doing, it's really going to positively impact the culture of your company. And that, my friends, has a huge return on investment.
Mm, so good, Thais. This has seriously been one of my favorite interviews. This has been so good and insightful and action packed. I feel like hopefully anybody listening has been has a few takeaways to come from this, because I feel like so much of what you've spoken to today resonates with that scaling CEO, someone who knows, okay, I see the vision of where I want the company to be, but what's it going to take? And I feel like it's team and it's you embracing CEO. And that's what you've done, Taise. So thank you so much. Hey, if our listeners have friends in the roofing industry, where can they find out about
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. They can go to any of our social platforms. It's Saenz Global, and it's spelled S as in Sam, A as in Apple, ENZ as in zebra, and then the word global. So Saenz Global. Yeah. And they can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or our website. It's saenzglobal.com. Yeah. And we would be happy to see if it would be, meet with them and see if this would be a good fit for their business. But we love roofers and we love supporting them, helping them get to the next scale of their business. So very cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much,
Abby,
Thais.
thank you so much. It was so good seeing you. All right.
Bye, friends.
Thank you.